today we are doing swivel seat installation on this side. Here's the contraption I bought there. I got some tools sitting around. I have already disconnected the negative battery terminal. I'm going to start with these bolts here, and then I've got 2 bolts in the front of this, and then I'm going to cut cable ties and undo the wiring. So hopefully it is really just that easy. I was able to disconnect these. They have these purple spring-loaded tabs, which are pretty nice. You just need to be able to pull the tab back and wiggle it. So that took 2 hands, but I got those. This third smaller black one actually slides. There's channels on this side that slide over a little holder back here, so you just have to first slide it off to get the fitting where you can get your hands on it, and then there's a tab to squeeze and pull. Nothing too unusual there. Now I just need to undo some of these zip ties to free the wires. Okay, zip ties are free, these wires are free, and I should be able to lift this seat off now. Sad day. I ordered these universal, they're supposed to be universal seat swivels, but unfortunately, as you can see, both directions, they are too small. So I'm gonna have to return these and try again, and maybe I'll get more specific fit, or at least pay closer attention to measurements. We're here 2 or 3 weeks later. We are back to installing the swivel seat in the van. I have the seat disconnected again, the bolts out, and here is the new swivel seat hardware that I've ordered. Okay, I'm already feeling better about this. The last one didn't come with any hardware. Probably should have been a red flag, right? This one came with hardware, definitely looks wide enough for the job at hand. So this one has holes that look better suited to my layout. We'll see exact fit in just a minute. Well, we put this in place and have a small problem. So the good news is that when I put this right on top like this, these holes do seem to match up pretty well. What's not great is that, I don't know if you can see, but this bar, this pole right here to allow the seat to swivel is hitting this bar that's going across. This bar looks to be structural support. It's welded on either side. Structural support sideways to keep this seat frame in the right position. It does have angle brackets welded on at the bottom here, as well as when I bolt this on, this structure here is actually going to be giving that same support. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out, knowing that I'm about to replace this bar with a piece screwed in from here to here to help keep that distance the same. But without that, there's also no way I could swivel. So just quick modification required here. It would be nice if this would rotate down, but it's welded in, so it's going to have to just be cut out. Just taking off some of these metal burrs for safety. And here I'm just installing the existing bolts back onto the base. I'm not going to tighten them down too much yet till I get all the bolts in on the bottom. And then I debated attaching this swivel to the bottom of the seat first and lifting it on, but I decided it'd all be easier to do in place. We'll find out if I'm right or wrong on that. All right, I don't like this. I think these need washers. So I'm going to go ahead and use some of the washers they gave me for the top, and I will find other washers to make up for them. But yeah, I'm going to put washers on these. The reason is that the heads of these bolts don't feel as wide as the holes in some cases. The holes are a little slotted for adjustment. In a case of excessive force, I wouldn't want the bolts to basically tear through those holes since they're just catching the edge. So I'll go get some washers and put these back in. So here I have washers under these bolts. It feels a million times better. When I tighten those up, it felt very solid, and this base feels solid. So happy I did that. And now I just need to put the seat back on here, use the rest of these bolts, go find some replacement washers for the ones I snagged for the lower level, and install these bolts. So I pushed the wires back through the center of the swivel, so they'll be able to move with it. And now I'm just going to reinstall some bolts. So now we're going to tighten up the bolts, reconnect the wires, and try out our swivel. The bolts they sent me have a hex head on them. Not my favorite, but making it work. Here I am, sitting backwards in the front seat. I would say the swivel installation process is super simple. 6 bolts, rerouting some wires. The trickiest thing is getting the right materials. Get the right swivel, get the right size washers, save yourself the trips to the store. But totally simple, easy to do. I had to make one more little modification that I thought I'd just show you real quick. This seatbelt contraption here had this piece in here, and what it did is it would come before and lock on the bottom of this rail and slide back and forth like this into this groove track. You can see there's kind of a groove on the end. What that would do is that would lock the seatbelt system into this heavy gauge steel, which was all tied into the frame of the car. So really good safety mechanism. By installing the seat swivel, it raised them and separated it, and this was no longer functioning. In fact, it was rubbing on the seat swivel part. I'm not a huge fan of removing this. It had to be removed to make the seat swivel work, but I appreciate the added safety and structure it gave. So I'm going to be thinking about how I can replicate this. Basically, when this is in the driving position, forward-facing position, I'd like some kind of ability to lock back into this rail up here. So I'm going to be thinking about how to do that. In the meantime, it was already rendered useless, so I went ahead and removed it so I could use the swivel. That is a downside to some of these aftermarket swivels. And with that, we have both seats swiveling smoothly, and yeah, excited to move on to the next upgrade.